Hello, good morning or afternoon, depending on where you guys are. My name is Leah Hartman. Today we're going to be going over QuickBooks Online Basics for Accountants. All right, let's get started. Okay, so my name is Leah Hartman. I'm a product consultant here with Intuit. I've been here for 6 years. Today is actually my 6-year anniversary. Yay, me. And I've been an employee with Intuit since 2012. Well, a couple things about me. I just want to point out I am considered technically a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. I have taken the QuickBooks Online certification exam. I am certified in online, and if you're interested in following me on LinkedIn, you certainly may. But just as a side note, I would like to point out that if you have questions, you're more than welcome to send those questions in the chat room. I'd be more than happy to answer as we go along. Also, there are some handouts that are available for you to download. The first one is going to be additional resources in case you have not signed up for QuickBooks Online Accountant just yet. Or you can download the deck that I'm using currently, and you can follow along or you can keep for future use. So we're going to go over agenda today. So basically, this is a very, very basic webinar today. So it's about 60 minutes long. The CPE is not being administered in this particular webinar. I just want to point that out. But this is going to be the agenda, like I said, very basic, right? So what is QuickBooks Online Accountant? We're just going to briefly talk a little bit about what it is and how it can benefit you. And then we're going to talk about benefits of the cloud, right? Why is it that we are encouraging folks to think about moving to the cloud now rather than later? I'm going to walk you through how to sign up for QBOA, is what we call it for short, QuickBooks Online Accountant, QBOA for short, or how you can accept an invitation from your client. We're going to talk about navigation basics, how to add a new client. We're also going to go through the differences between subscription levels with QuickBooks Online. So when you're talking to clients and they're not using QuickBooks Online, what's going to be the best version for them? There's also payroll options inside of QuickBooks Online. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about QuickBooks Self-Employed and then accessing your client's data, okay? Like I said, should be about 60 minutes long, and we'll jump right in. So first thing I want to talk about is what is QuickBooks Online Accountant, or for short, QuickBooks, QBOA. So QBOA is your one-stop shop for running your accounting practice in the cloud. Right, so it connects to or integrates with QuickBooks Online and other Intuit products like QuickBooks Online Payroll and Intuit ProConnect Tax Online, which allows you to file tax returns on behalf of your clients. So it's on-the-go access. You can work with your clients' books in real time right from a dashboard. So all of your clients are listed in a particular dashboard that allows you to be able to manage them easily. You have clear priorities, so you know which clients need your attention with automatic notifications that show up on your dashboard. There's a team collaboration piece that also allows you guys to be able to communicate between coworkers, right, so employees within your firm, so you can work together easily in a single client list. It's also a single workflow, right, so you can complete all of your taxes and accounting tasks in one complete and convenient place. So rather than having to go to several different programs or having to log into several different places, you can access all of it in one-stop shop. And just to kind of throw out a quote, or I'm sorry, not a quote, a statistic, I guess I should say, 78% of small businesses will be moving online by 2020, right? So when we talk about the shift from, you know, the desktop life and into the online, the cloud space, right? A lot of smaller businesses are needing to be mobile, right? They need the ability to access their data at their fingertips. And so it's really important for them to be able to see how much cash flow they have and all that good stuff. So rather than be reactive, we're here to teach you guys the benefits of using it and be proactive when your clients are coming to you and asking for help, right? So talking a little bit about benefits of the cloud, so it's anytime, anywhere, right? So flexibility to sign in from anywhere with an internet connection. So the way that I like to think about it is Facebook. If you have data on your phone that allows you to hook up to the internet and you can access your Facebook account, you can access QuickBooks Online. If you have a computer or a laptop and you're on the go and you have access to get on the internet from there, you can access QuickBooks Online. There's no need to host. So we know that hosting services can get pretty expensive if you're using QuickBooks Desktop. There's no need to host with QuickBooks Online. It's already stored in the cloud. And you can access the account from any device, including your laptop, your smartphones, and your tablets too. And the cool thing is they're free applications that you can install on your smartphones and or tablets, and the interface is the same across the board. So PC and Mac users have the same experience. You don't have to worry about having a different user interface if you're on a different platform. So that's really super helpful too for accountants who have clients who are using a Mac and maybe you're not as familiar with Mac. I know I'm not. I'm definitely a PC gal. But same experience across the board. So that makes it really easy for you guys to be able to swap and switch around if needed. Other things to think about: improved collaboration. So multiple users have the ability to be logged in at the same time, working in the same books, making real-time updates. So if you're familiar with QuickBooks Desktop, there's some drawbacks to using QuickBooks Desktop when it comes to multiple users, right? So you have to have multiple licenses, which costs additional. You have to make sure that you're in multi-user mode, which can be a difficult thing to set up if you're not familiar with how to set up networks or anything like that. So with QuickBooks Online, that's all built into the cloud program, right? And so with the QuickBooks Online Accountant, it's just an interface that kind of sits on top of QuickBooks Online so that you guys can manage your clients, but it's all the same concept, right? So it's in the cloud, it's available, it's out there, and so you guys can make real-time updates while you're in there, and your client can be in there as well. So it's really helpful instead of you guys having to do any of this transferring back and forth or worrying about multi-user mode, or God forbid anybody gets an H202 error. We all know those are death. You can invite your accountant, so we're speaking from the client side, right? Invite your accountant, allowing them to access your books to answer questions, fix problems, and get you ready for tax time. And the other thing, too, that's really cool about the QuickBooks Online Accountant portal is that as long as you're consistently in there for the whole year, it usually makes your life and your client's life at the end of the year when it comes to tax time way easier. So just something to think about. Instead of getting a file at the end of the year and being like, what is this mess, right? If you're continually in there, it works out to both of your guys' benefits. And then, of course, no need to transfer sensitive data back and forth. Again, I'm going to compare it to desktop. If you have a client sending you accountant copy file transfers, if you get an error or you're not able to download it or upload it or push it back into QuickBooks Desktop to add the changes that were made, right, that's really, really difficult and really frustrating, and having to call support can maybe not be so much fun. So there's no need to do any of that with QuickBooks Online. It's all available right there for you guys to access at the same time together, so you guys are not having to do any of this transferring of data. Preventing unauthorized access. So login credentials for your cloud accounting softwares enable you only designated people to view and access your financial information. So we've also, as a company, we've implemented multi-factor authentication across all of our products to protect your data, right? So we all know that it's really important that security is a big thing these days, right? With people doing not so nice things like hacking. Well, we've implemented multi-factor authentication with the cloud program. So when you do sign in for the first time into an unauthorized computer, you will be prompted to enter in a 6-digit PIN. You will either be texted the code or emailed, or I believe you can also get a phone call as well. So login credentials, you keep them for yourself. You don't give those login credentials to anybody. And then anybody who either works for the firm will have their own login and password, and then of course your client will have their own separate login and password. So then you also kind of have that ability to track who's signing in and at what time too. So some of the things to think about when you're working with the cloud software is everyone has their own login, and then that way everyone's held accountable for their actions. So it's really helpful in that case. Safe storage of financial data. So data is routinely backed up to servers in multiple locations. So you guys don't have to worry about things disappearing, right, or a backup not working. So that's on us. That's our job. No physical hard drives or computers containing sensitive data that can be stolen or potentially risk natural disasters such as fires or hurricanes. And so as a side note, I actually got the ability to go onto this project where Intuit wanted to learn more about how we can help folks or small businesses survive from natural disasters. And so I got to go to Houston, Texas after Hurricane Harvey, and then I also got to go to Sonoma, California after the fires, and we learned a lot about what customers need after something like that happens, right, after a natural disaster. Some folks were doing everything everything right? So like if they were using QuickBooks Desktop, even though their hard drives got flooded, right, their backups also got flooded as well. So when it comes to things like that, it's not really something you have to worry about with the online version, but it also kind of started the conversation with folks of maybe saving those backups if you are using QuickBooks Desktop, saving those backups on the cloud rather than in a physical place might be helpful, because then you're not running into that issue. But just as a random side note, random tangent, we're hoping to have some sort of playbook available for those who have to deal with natural disasters and stuff like that. But it was a really awesome experience to be able to be a part of that. So seamless sync. So cloud accounting software does the heavy lifting so you can spend your time on other important business tasks. So in this day and age, accountants are more, instead of actually doing the actual data working yourselves, right, inputting transactions or anything like that, you guys are more along the lines of becoming advisors, right? That's your guys' jobs, right? Advising your clients what's good for them, those kinds of things. You can automatically sync bank accounts so you don't have to manually import transactions. It makes yours and your clients' lives way easier. And then, of course, there are third-party applications that do seamlessly sync data to QuickBooks Online, so there's no need to import or export for manual entry. So the way that we like to look at it is QuickBooks Online is going to be your core product. And then if there is something additional that your client may need, then you can add a third-party application to integrate into QuickBooks Online with. So we have an ecosystem that is built and is created in order for you guys to be able to be successful. And then, of course, the ability to pay as you grow. So no long-term commitments. SaaS solutions are often monthly subscriptions with various service levels, which we will talk about. We'll talk about the different service levels and what is available. So purchase what you need today, knowing you can expand as needed, and then you can include additional users, advanced features, additional tools, etc., like apps. You can always add those as you go along. And the cool thing, too, is we've also implemented the ability to downgrade as well. So if you did start off with a higher level version of QBO and you realize, oh, my client doesn't need this, the ability to downgrade is available or is an option to do so at this time. So that's helpful. Okay, so those are the benefits of the cloud. The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is signing up for QBOA. So there's two different ways to do this, to sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant if you have not done so already. So the first way is you can sign up at quickbooks.intuit.com/accountants/online. This is the landing page that you will land on, and it says sign up for free in that green button. So pretty cool, right? So you can actually get this QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard for free, no cost to you. And there's all kinds of benefits that are available for you guys to utilize for this free program. So you can simply click sign up for free. When you click sign up for free, this is the screen that you're going to get. Now, this may be a little confusing depending on if you have not been here or you're not familiar with how this works. So when you click on sign up for free, there are a couple things to point out. The first one is the region, right? So most of the folks who are going to be signing up are going to be signing up through the United States. But if you are through a different country like Canada or maybe Australia, you do have the ability to change your region there at the top. The second thing that you need to remember is if you already have an Intuit account, so if you're using TurboTax or you're using Intuit Online Payroll, or you already have a login with Intuit, instead of filling out the rest of this screen, you're going to simply click that button that says sign in. If you have never worked with Intuit before, you're simply going to fill out the section with the bracket below and fill out the information as asked, right? So the email address, the first name, last name, phone number, and then whatever password it is that you would like to create. So again, you're either going to sign in if you already work with Intuit, or you're going to finish filling out the information below if you have never worked with Intuit before and do not have an Intuit login. Once you've figured the first piece out, then the second step is going to be entering in your firm's information. So it's going to ask for your accounting firm name, the zip code that you currently are located at, and then number of small business clients that you are working with. So there's 3 different options, I believe, and so you'll just need to pick whichever one's best for you as far as how many small business clients you are currently working with. Once you've done that, then it'll take its magic time to work and create what we call QuickBooks Online Accountant, and so then you'll get welcome to QuickBooks Online Accountant. QBOA, right? Welcome to QBOA. So this is what it's going to look like when it's brand new, right? So we've got Just a couple things to point out. We've got some tiles up at the top. Those are going to be things that are available for you to look at and read and follow up on if you're interested on learning more about the product. So this is the dashboard. We're going to go over the dashboard here in just a second. But what I'd like to do next is go over the alternative way to sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant. So the alternative way is if you have a client that already has QuickBooks Online and they've invited you as an accountant user. And this is before you have QuickBooks Online Accountant. So what your client could do is they could go to their manage users list. Now your client would already know how to do this, but basically what would happen is your client would go into their manage users list, and as you can see in this big red circle, there's an option that says invite accountant. What would happen is they're going to fill out your information like your email address and your name, and then what's going to happen is in the second screenshot you're going to get an email that says accept invite. When you accept the invitation, that's going to generate a QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard for you. So those are the two ways that you can sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant. You can either go online to the website and sign up for free, or if your client invites you and you do not have QuickBooks Online Accountant with that email address, it'll automatically generate a QuickBooks Online Accountant profile for you. But they have to invite you as an accountant user. If it's just a regular user, then it won't work. They have to invite you as an accountant. Okay? Awesome. So now, the next thing I want to go over is navigation. So first things first, I'd like to talk a little bit about navigation basics. So we have the sign-in option. So once you actually have QuickBooks Online Accountant, then you're going to sign in at QBO.intuit.com. So both accountants and clients sign in through this portal, okay? It's no different than where the clients sign in. Because you have the QBOA portal, your screen will just look different than your client's. MFA, multi-factor authentication with a text or an email will pull in, right? So for the first time that you use QuickBooks Online Accountant, you will be prompted for a 6-digit PIN code. And then, of course, we have our sample drive. So if you're working with a client who's maybe a little hesitant about moving to the cloud, or maybe they're wanting to see how some of the features work, there is a QuickBooks Online test drive. So you can either use this link to access the test drive, or if you just open up a web browser and go to like Google and just type in QBO space test space drive, you'll be able to pull it up from there as well. Again, I have saved the deck into the handouts portion, so if you need to download the deck to save for a later time, you can absolutely do that. Those links do work. Okay, so this is what the portal looks like, QuickBooks Online Accountant portal. Some navigation basics I just want to talk about. So we're going to start over with number one and work our way around. So number one is our left-hand panel to access menus for your practice and for your books. So there's two separate sections in the QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard. So there's a Your Practice section at the top where there's 4 different items to choose from. There's Clients, there's Team, there's Pro Advisor, and then there's Work. The second section of your practice is going to be what's called your books, and that's where you're going to see all items that look very similar to QuickBooks Online. When you sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant, as an accountant user, you get a free set of your books, a free QuickBooks Online Plus subscription to be able to utilize for your own firm's use, right? So if you want to run your books through your firm, for your firm through your books, you can absolutely do that. You also get a free subscription to Payroll, whether it's do-it-yourself or full service, which we will talk about the differences when we get to the subscription levels. But those are the two main sections. So your practice is going to be anything related to the practice when it comes to managing clients. Your books is going to be in relationship to the firm's books. And so your books is not where you would put a client. It's not where you would give to your friend, right, because it's free. This would be just for your firm's books. Or you don't have to use it at all, either or. And then, of course, next to the number 1, there's also a new tab called Work. This is a new feature that we have added into QuickBooks Online Accountant for practice management. So for those new guys, right? For those folks, since we're talking about basics here, this is going to be something that you may or may not use. The Work tab allows you to be able to track and manage tasks that are due within your firm. So if I work for your firm, and you need me to reconcile one of our clients' accounts, you could set up a task through that Work tab, and that's where you can manage those items, right? So you can set a due date, you can manage all that stuff through there. So really super helpful. It's the very beginning of our practice management within QuickBooks Online Accountant, and again, this is all free stuff. So you don't have to pay for any of this. Number 2, go to Clients QuickBooks. This is where you're going to access your Clients QuickBooks. So as you can see, we've got our dashboard here. There's a list of clients. You'll notice that these clients here have QuickBooks icons to the right of their names. So if you need to access your clients' books, you're going to go to the top where it says number 2, go to Clients QuickBooks, and you'll be able to click on your client's name, and it'll take you to their client's home page. Number 3 is going to be your firm/accountant name and the number of clients that you have access to. Number 4 is going to be on the far right-hand side. It's going to be right below the plus sign. So add client. This is where you're going to click on the plus sign inside of QuickBooks Online Accountant to sign up a client who does not have QuickBooks Online at all. So it would be a brand new client, new to QBO, and you're needing to add them as a QuickBooks Online subscriber so they can start using it. Of course, as long as you have their permission. Number 5 is your gear menu. So this is where you're going to manage your QuickBooks Online account stuff. So this is where you're going to access things like your account, anything that's related to your books, anything that's related to practice, your practice page, right? So this is going to all be related to QuickBooks Online Accountant. Number 6 is your Pro Advisor profile. So this is where you're going to manage your listing within your Find a Pro Advisor marketplace. So we already talked about QuickBooks Online Accountant is free. Well, there are some benefits. Well, there's quite a few benefits that are available for you as a cloud advisor, is what we call it, that's free. On the left-hand side under your practice, you'll notice that there's a section called Pro Advisor. And what that is that's a program that allows you to be able to take tests and become certified. And then once you become certified in our product, you have the ability to market yourselves online for new clientele. Again, it's all optional. You are not required to do any of that, but it is available for you if you're interested in learning more. The test helps you get more familiar and comfortable with QuickBooks Online. And at the very end, if we have time, I will do a very quick demo of what the page looks like, etc. So we'll show you briefly what that looks like, but that's where your Pro Advisor profile just happens to live in the upper right-hand corner where it says number 6. That's where you can find your profile to manage it and make your profile pretty so you can have clients access you for help. And then, of course, number 7 is the help. So it's info for the US-based Pro Advisor chat/phone support. So if you need to call or chat with us, you can absolutely do that by simply clicking on the question mark icon in the upper right-hand corner. So that's just the main portion. The next thing I want to talk about specifically is going to be your client list. So this is the dashboard view of QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Self-Employed, and your ProConnect Tax Online clients as an accountant and what you have access to. So you can see that there's quite a few things to look at here. So just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, there's your client name is the first column on your client dashboard. So Heckman LLC is one of my clients. They work with me. I am their accountant. You'll notice that there are 3 sections. There's bookkeeping, there's payroll, and then there's tax up at the top. So bookkeeping is going to be QuickBooks Online. So that's going to be if they're using QuickBooks Online. And if you have access to them, you'll be able to see the QB meatball under status. That means that they have a QuickBooks Online subscription and you can access it. For review is going to be where you're going to access items that are to review for that particular client. So they've got transactions that need to be accepted into the registers. They've got checks that they've written with no payees in them, somebody made a change to a reconcile. Those are all really important things to know because it's messing with their books, right? Their cash flow. It's not accurate. So it's important to know those kinds of things. Then you've got your banking. So QuickBooks Online has the ability to download transactions from the bank to make your guys' data entry lives way easier, right? So you're not focusing your time on data entry. So if you did, or your client, I should say, if your client hooked up to QuickBooks, to the bank feeds, then you'll see under the banking column the last time that transactions were downloaded from the bank. So that's bookkeeping. The next section is going to be payroll, and so there's only 2 columns in the payroll section. So status, again, very similar to what you saw in the bookkeeping section. You've got your QuickBooks meatball, and then of course the last time that the pay date was processed. And then under items due, you have taxes that are due or files that forms that need to be filed. Excuse me. So just items that are going to be available, right? So again, tasks that need to be completed within a given certain time, right? And so it allows you to be able to, manage these items, easier like this. And then last but not least, on the right-hand side, we've got tax. And so this is in conjunction with ProConnect Tax Online. So we talked a little bit about this before. If you do tax returns on behalf of your clients, as long as the data inside of QuickBooks Online is correct and everything looks good, what happens is that data imports into ProConnect Tax Online, and then you can file that tax return. And so you'll notice that there is a trial balance feature, so you can create a working trial balance. And then, of course, if you did file any tax returns on behalf of your clients, you'll be able to see it under the tax return column. And just as a random side note or a little bit of a heads up, when you click on that QB icon, or the QB meatball as I like to call it, it does open up the client's company or the QuickBooks Self-Employed company. So just something to think about. So there's all kinds of information about this. If you guys are interested in learning more about what it is that you can do with this dashboard or what's available or what you can see, we do have other webinars available, but this, like I said, this is just very basic today. You'll notice that when you click on a client's name, let's go back to the other screen here for just a second. So if I want to access the client's company, I can click on the QB meatball, right, where it says QB under status. If I wanted to get more of a detail of what's going on inside the client's file without accessing the client's file, you're going to click on the client's name under the client's column, so that first column. So for example, if I were to click on a client name, this is what you're going to see. So Pools and Garden. This is the client detail. So you click on the name from the client list to review more specific information. This is what the information is giving you. So it's very similar to what you saw on the home page, but it gives you a little bit more of a breakdown of what's inside the client's file. Again, we still have not been accessing the client's file yet, so there's a lot of information to review and to see. So things that you can see in here is like client contact information. You can see notes that are available for you to access. You can also see the QuickBooks Online status, right? What subscription level are they using? Who was the last time that someone signed in and when? How often have the books been closed and what was the last date? Items that need to be reviewed. You can also see last banking download. Again, very similar to what you could see in the previous screen. Also, if the client is using payroll inside of their QuickBooks Online account, there's the QBOP, which is QuickBooks Online Payroll, or QBFSP, which is QuickBooks Full Service Payroll. And then, of course, there's also the tax portion. So if they do file tax returns, then you'll be able to access those there. And you'll see account balances from the chart of accounts, so it's a watch list when the last time they were reconciled. So you can make edits to contact information from this screen by simply clicking Edit Client. You'll be able to make edits, and you'll also be able to make team access changes. So because working with the QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard is basically a layer on top of QuickBooks Online, there is an ability for you to be able to add your employees that work for your firm as team members so they can also access the clients. So you can either make edits here, or when we get to the team section, I'll show you how you can add team members from there. The option to review now, shortcuts to this area in the client's QuickBooks will take you to those items. So like this one says changes to a reconcile on 12/12/2016. If you click review now, it'll take you to that item inside their QuickBooks Online account. So that's just some more information about your clients, right? So that's your client dashboard in the Your Practice section. The next thing that I want to talk about is team, right? Where the firm manages their staff. So the team page is going to be specific to anybody who works for the firm. So the team is the staff of the accounting firm. In this page, you can invite team members. You can edit team members. You can assign access to client companies. You can assign permissions for firm books and administrative tasks. You can mark team members inactive if needed, and you have the ability to transfer master admin of the QBOA account. So very similar to the QuickBooks Online world, somebody's got to be a master administrator, right? So they're kind of like the end-all, be-all master administrator. And so if you need to transfer that or you need to give it to somebody else, you can always do that from this team page. Now, a couple things I want to point out here. Number one, it's very, very, very important that everybody who works for the firm has their own login and password. And so as a team member, you need to make sure everybody is in this team section with their own username and password. And the reason why that is because every team member gets their own free ProAdvisor page. And they also, again, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but it's very important that everybody has their own login and password for accountability purposes. So QuickBooks Online has a very intricate audit trail, and so when you sign in or when you sign out, QuickBooks Online tracks that. And so it's really important to make sure that everybody is held responsible for anything that they do, right? So it's really important that everybody has their own login and passwords. Please keep that in mind. There's no limitation to the number of team users in QBOA. So if you need 200 team members, if you have a large firm, you can absolutely add every single one of them individually. That's not a problem at all. So please keep that in mind. Make sure everybody has their own login and password. Adding a team member is pretty simple. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a green Add User button. This is where the firm adds additional staff members. So maybe there's a new user that just got onboarded with the firm, and we need to give them access to be able to manage clients using QuickBooks Online. There's 3 steps to add a user. So it's basically an interview process. So you just follow the interview to invite the team member with their email address. 3 different options as far as how much access you want to give your team member. So not everybody needs to have full access to everything within the firm. So you can give them basic access, which only allows them to manage clients, or you can give them full access if you wanted to where they can see everything that you can. Once you've done the second step, the last step is to choose which clients the team members can access. So the cool thing about QuickBooks Online as well is the ability to determine who has access to which client. So not only can you add additional team members, right, who work for the firm to have their own login and password, but you can also say, okay, I don't want you to have access to all the clients, but you can have access to the 2 that you're working on. So when they sign in, they're only looking at the 2 clients that they work on. They're not distracted by anything else. So it's really cool. Just as a side note, granting access to a client gives the team member full admin permissions to that client's QuickBooks Online file. So as an accountant user or as a team member, anybody who has that access will be able to access everything through that client's file. So please just keep that in mind. There's no way to limit that amount of access. Now the next thing I want to talk about is adding clients to your dashboard. How do I add clients to my dashboard? There's 2 different options that you can add your clients to your dashboard. For a brand new client who has never used QuickBooks Online before, they're going to go to the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner of your QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard, and you're going to hit Create Client. That's the first page, or I'm sorry, the first screenshot. The second screenshot is client contact information, filling out client contact information. So business name, email, QuickBooks subscription, all that good stuff, which we'll get to the subscription options in just a second. Once you fill out that second screenshot, you'll be created a QuickBooks Online subscription through your dashboard. So you'll be able to see it, and based off of your client's email address that you enter in, they will also get a notification to have access to the QuickBooks Online subscription as well. So this is the first way that you can sign up a client to access in your dashboard. The second way for you to be able to access a client's file is if the client is already using QuickBooks Online and you need to access their data. So very similar to what we talked about when we talked about signing up for QuickBooks Online Accountant. This is if you already have QuickBooks Online Accountant, but you need to see the client in your dashboard. So when your client logs into QuickBooks Online, these are the steps that they need to take. You're going to ask your client to log into their QBO, and we all know QuickBooks Online, to sign in, it's qbo.intuit.com. Once they log in, you're going to have them navigate to the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, and then you're going to have them select Manage Users. Make sure they click Invite Accountant. I have it circled in red on the right-hand side. And then they will need your email address that you use to sign up for QBOA, and then you will accept the invitation via email. So keep in mind, if the client already is using QuickBooks Online and you need to see their data, this is the option that you're going to take to do that. If your client is not using QuickBooks Online at all, then you'll use the first option, which is creating the QuickBooks Online subscription. Once you've completed either or of those steps, then you'll be able to access your clients from the dashboard and you'll be able to see their data, right? So you've got to be able to make that connection first. Pretty good stuff. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the different QuickBooks Online subscription levels. So what is it available for you guys to be able to give to your clients or suggest or recommend to your clients, okay? So the first thing that we're going to go over is QuickBooks Online service level. So these are going to be for sole proprietors, LLCs, partnerships, corporations, nonprofits, and more, right? So these are actual businesses with EINs, right? The first smallest version of QuickBooks Online we have available is Simple Start. QuickBooks Online Simple Start. It allows for one user plus 2 bookkeepers / accounting firms by invite. Okay, so Simple Start is the only QuickBooks Online subscription that you have to sign up through the website, which is QuickBooks.com. You can't sign up anywhere else. So your client would have to log in and sign up for Simple Start if they wanted to use Simple Start. There's an unlimited number of estimates and invoices that your client can create. You can track expenses and print checks. However, there is no AP function. They can't create bills. They can connect to their bank accounts. They can track vendors for 1099 miscellaneous. This just came out recently. And there's about 20 or so reports available for them to access, including General Ledger. So this is the smallest version of QuickBooks Online. The second version has everything that Simple Start has, except this one is called Essentials. It has everything Simple Start has, plus instead of having just one user, you have 3 users that are available to access QuickBooks Online, plus 2 bookkeeper / accounting firms. Remember, you guys are the accounting firms. So the 3 users would be an association for the actual small business, right? So, you know, for the client themselves. So they can have 3 users. There is the ability to set up user access control. So because they have additional users, they can set up limited access control for those 3 users. You can manage and pay bills from vendors. So that's the big step up, right? Essentials, you can track AP, right? Accounts payable. Delayed charges and credits are also available. You can use multi-currency in QuickBooks Online Essentials. You can also set up reoccurring transactions. And QuickBooks Online Essentials has about 40+ reports available for you to utilize. And last but not least, we also have our highest version of QuickBooks Online called QuickBooks Online Plus. So QuickBooks Online Plus has everything that Simple Start has and everything that Essentials has, but also has 5 users included, and your client has the ability to expand up to 20 additional users, so 25 users total, plus the 2 bookkeeper / accounting firms. And on top of that, there's also unlimited users that you can add that are time tracking only or reports only. So if you have users who work for a company who just needs access to time tracking or they just need to access reports, you have an unlimited amount of users that can sign up for this, that you can invite to this particular company. So Plus is going to give you a lot more when it comes to the amount of users that can access the file. QuickBooks Online Plus also has class/location tracking available. So for those who have multiple locations, or for those who need to track by class or by department or by anything that requires class tracking, you can absolutely do that. You can also set up purchase orders in QuickBooks Online Plus. This is where you would also do inventory using FIFO, which is first in, first out valuation, allows you to track profitability with two-sided items. This is where you can also do billable timing and expenses. And QuickBooks Online Plus is also the version that allows you to do budgets. With QuickBooks Online Plus, you get about 65 plus reports available for you to access. Now, in conjunction with QuickBooks Online, not only can you use QuickBooks Online, but you can also add Payroll as an add-on option if you want to. So subscription levels that are available to add on to QuickBooks Online for Payroll, there's two options. So the first one is going to be QuickBooks Online Enhanced. So this supports for all 50 states. You can print paychecks or use our free direct deposit for W-2 employees. You can pay federal, 941 or 944, and 940 taxes and file the forms electronically. So that's included in that monthly fee for this payroll service, so you don't have to pay extra for that. You can pay your state taxes and file forms electronically where available, or print-ready forms / coupons or worksheets. So again, because you're working in the cloud, if you're on vacation and you're like, oh shoot, I need to do this, you can absolutely just log into your computer, send them, and you're good to go. Multi-state support. So if you have folks who work in multiple states and you have to file taxes in multiple states, you can absolutely do that for $12 per state per month. So the first state is included in your monthly fee, but if you have a second state that you have to report taxes to, it's an additional $12 per state per month. No tax impounding. Employees can view their pay stubs online. There's an option for employees to be able to sign up to viewmypaycheck.com and access their pay stubs online. You have the ability to create W-2s and file them electronically at year end. You can access this program through your iPad, iPhone, or Android. And there's also a wholesale discount through QBOA. So if you're interested in checking out other webinars that are available, you can absolutely shoot me an email. But wholesale discount through QBOA would be as a QuickBooks Online accountant user, you do have the ability to get discounted pricing through wholesale billing. So this is included in that. Other options available for you guys to link to QuickBooks Online, again, these are add-ons to QuickBooks Online, is going to be QuickBooks Online for full service payroll. So this one's a little more expensive because it's basically a we do it for you service. But basically, client submits the payroll, whether it's you or your client, right? Every accounting firm works a little differently. Client submits payroll, we file and pay payroll taxes on their behalf. So we basically do everything. We have expert help during setup. So we make sure that you guys are set up correctly with no issues. Local tax forms are actually included in the full service payroll. There's no tax penalties guaranteed. If we make a mistake, it's on us. You guys are not at fault for it. No tax impounding. Accuracy is guaranteed, and it's accessible from a web browser, iPad, iPhone, or Android. And again, it also has a discount available through wholesale if you're interested. So those are the two options for payroll. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go through any accessing clients' data and all that good stuff, or jumping into the product, the last thing I want to talk about is QuickBooks Self-Employed. Now, QuickBooks Self-Employed is not QuickBooks Online, but it is another online program that allows for a client of yours to hook up to QuickBooks Online account so you can access their data. So I just want to talk a little bit about the difference between QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Self-Employed. So QuickBooks Self-Employed is for sole proprietors who file a Schedule C. So we're talking your Uber drivers, your Lyft drivers, your hairstylists, your real estate agents, folks who get paid but do not have taxes withheld, and so they just get a gross amount, right? And so, so folks who use most of the time, self-employed folks is probably the fastest growing business out there. We have so many people already using QuickBooks Self-Employed because, I can't tell you the last time someone said, I don't want to work for somebody, you know what I mean? So they work for themselves. But basically, it is a program that is allowable for one user and one bookkeeper/accounting firm. So it's a little different than online, QuickBooks Online. Again, this is for Schedule C businesses only. So basically what it is a program that tracks business expenses versus personal expenses. So it's like a swipe left, swipe right kind of deal. You can connect to your bank and your credit card. So basically what they do is they connect to all their banks and all their credit cards, and then they're going to swipe a certain way depending on if it is business or personal. The mobile application that you install on your cell phone is actually also has a mileage tracking program built into it. So if you do drive for your Schedule C contract, like if you do have to drive, you can track your miles, and that'll also be integrated into the whole, preparing your taxes. You can also do estimated quarterly tax payments to the IRS. So I know that some folks who don't do estimated taxes quarterly will get a penalty at the end of the year. You can send estimated quarterly tax payments through this program so that you don't get those penalties at the end of the year. This particular program, QuickBooks Self-Employed, has only 3 reports. So it's got a profit and loss, it's got a tax summary, and then it's got tax details. Now I would like to point out again, because we're solely only determining whether or not the transactions that are going through your bank account and your credit cards are personal versus business. There's no AR, AP, or sales tax tracking in this program. And there's no payroll add-on addition. So you can't add payroll to this. This is solely for anybody who's working for themselves. They're not having taxes withheld when they get paid. Okay? So those are going to be the differences. So your small businesses, they've got an EIN and they're working for a small business, a sole proprietor, an LLC, a corporation. Those are going to use QBOA with payroll as an option. For folks who are sole proprietors who file a Schedule C, they're going to use self-employed. So those are the 2 different options that are going to be available. So the cool thing is you can target either or clientele, right? You don't have to. You can support either or. But these are the programs. These are the types of programs that you can see when you're accessing QuickBooks Online Accountant. All right, perfect. So last but not least, what I'd like to do is I just want to give you guys a little bit of a show. We've got about 10 minutes left before we are done. And so I just want to give you guys a little bit of a walkthrough of what we talked about and how you guys can access information. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into QuickBooks Online. So this is our QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard, like we've already talked about. As you can see, the name of my firm shows up here, just like we talked about, Clean Books LLC, right? That's the name of my firm. This is how many clients I have access to, 11 clients. My 11 clients are listed down here below. Some of the things that you could not see while I was showing you guys PowerPoint slides is the information that's available at your fingertips without really doing anything. So for example, if I hover my mouse over the QuickBooks meatball, it gives me information about the client's file, such as the version that you're using and the last time someone signed in. Other things that you guys can look at is these notes. So if you have a note that's specified for a specific client, you can add the note to your client's file, and then you can see it on this dashboard. So when I hover my mouse over it, this particular one says, do not call before 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the good news is your client can't see this, right? So this is only for you and your team members. So it's really helpful for you guys to communicate or send updates with each other through this notes feature, okay? Other things that you can do on your client dashboard is you can customize your dashboard. So for example, if I click on the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, well actually it's right above the tax column. If you click on the mini gear icon, then what you can do is you can customize your dashboard. So if you don't plan on doing payroll at all for any of your clients, you can uncheck those boxes and give yourself a little bit more real estate, right? So just something to think about. You can absolutely do that. So just to show you, I'm going to re-add the payroll columns back. So you can also size these columns. So if you move your mouse over to the columns headers, you can size these to make them look pretty, right? Again, we're just talking about customizing, making it look nice and beautiful so that you're happy. You can also sort. You can either sort by using the sort feature up here at the top. You can sort by bookkeeping clients. You can sort by payroll clients. You can sort by tax clients. But you can also sort by the name, right? So if I click on name, it's going to alphabetize based off of the name. If I have items to review, I can click on that, and it'll sort by items that need to be reviewed. It'll show up at the top. So you can absolutely sort these columns to whatever makes your heart happy, right? So I just want to show you guys the benefit of being able to use these programs, right? So you'll have the ability to do that. One of the other things I wanted to show you guys while I'm on this screen is the work tab that we talked a little bit about. So work lives over here on the left-hand side. This gives you the ability to manage tasks that are due within your guys' clients' files, right? So it's practice management for your firm. So this gives you the ability to say, hey, John Smith, I need you to reconcile this client's statement before the end of the week. And so you can set the task up here, and then when it's completed, he can mark it as complete. You can also send client requests through this portal, which basically allows you to send an email to your client and ask them to either send you documentation or ask you to communicate via email back and forth. So it gives you guys that collaboration piece, right? Gives you guys the ability to communicate back and forth, and on top of that, saves those documentations for a later date. So you can absolutely do that too. So something to think about if you guys are interested in learning more about the Work tab. Like I said, we do have another webinar that is available for you guys. I'll make sure to send an email out at the end of this webinar for any additional webinars you may be interested in that me and my team provide. And so, but yeah, so that's what the Work tab looks like. Other things I wanted to show you before we go is the Pro Advisor portal. So Pro Advisor portal is where you guys can access all of your benefits that are available for you. So again, this portal is free, guys. You're not paying anything for this. And so some of the things that we provide to you is the ability to become certified. So once you're certified, you not only receive a certificate and a badge, but you also increase your opportunity to generate client leads by showcasing your profile on the Find a Pro Advisor directory. So last year, I want to say last year, our Find a Pro Advisor directory got 1 million hits. That's a lot. So if you guys are looking for new clientele, not only do we give you the ability to market yourselves, but we also give you the tools to do it. So really cool stuff. There's all kinds of other benefits that are available for you guys to access through the Pro Advisor portal. Again, every team member who logs in with their own user ID and password gets their own Pro Advisor profile. So everybody who works for the firm can technically sign into this profile page and take their own exam. It's really cool stuff. And then, of course, last but not least, we have our team page. So again, like we talked about before, this is where you would access anybody who works for the firm to log in and get access. So this is what the team page looks like. You can simply add a user by going to Add User in the upper right-hand corner, or you can simply click on the name of that particular person that you're already have access to in the client file. And then the 3 steps, right? So we talked about the user profile, their first and last name. Firm administration and books will tell you what kind of access level you want them to have within the firm. And then, of course, client access. Which clients do you only want them to see? They don't have to see all the clients associated with the firm. They can only see the clients that they need to look at. So you can absolutely show, dictate which ones that they're going to have access to. So really, really great stuff. So that's all I had to show for you guys today. Did anybody have any questions? You can absolutely ask those questions in the chat room. I'm going to give you guys just a minute or two to ask questions if you need. All right, well, like I said, I will email you guys a list of all of our upcoming webinars if you guys are interested. Thank you all so much for attending today's session. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.